Gun here. In 2003, Metallica released an album called Saint Anger. Some people actually liked it, which I will never understand. But there was one universal criticism regarding the muted sound of Lars Ulrich's drums. The album was produced by Bob Rock, who's a big fat guy that was part of a few good albums back in the day, and now he just lays on a couch eating kale and telling bands to do better. The sound engineer was Mike Gillies, who was the man responsible for making Lars' drums sound like they were still in the box while he was playing them. Well, turns out he was the man responsible for mixing my sound on the first few videos. I was under contract with him for about 3 shoots, and they are done now. So hopefully y'all can hear me and what I'm saying without having to crank the volume up to 11. In episode 2, I showed you my first CZ Scorpion Evo 3S1. If you managed to understand anything I said, then you would have picked up on the fact that I really do enjoy this firearm. In fact, I enjoyed it so much that when a buddy of mine wanted to sell his brand new pistol, Scorpion, in FDE, I decided to take it off of his hands. At the time, he lived in a communist state and didn't want to deal with the politics of making it an SBR. I figured, if I'm going to own 2 of any PCCs, this is the one that is most fun to tinker with, and the upgrades are generally quite reasonably priced, so I won't go broke making myself a backup gun. So if you were to ask me, hey douche, why do you have 2 Scorpions? I'd likely respond, how many AR-15s do you own? And then, when you tell me that you own 6, I'd tell you to shut the fuck up. Well, okay, enough of that. So let's go over the changes that I made. And to be honest, about 99% of this is the exact same parts I installed on the other one, so it ain't going to be a whole lot of new information. But we will go ass to mouth, because that's how I roll. Starting on the back, we have the CZ factory buttstock made for the Scorpion. It is side folding, and it does have a little magnet doohickey right here that could connect to the nameplate if it wasn't covered up with the tape so you don't see my serial number. It's also adjustable for length of pull, and it's fairly stable. Compare it to the Zukov stock that I have on the other gun. I don't know. I think I do like the other one better. Just feels a little bit more sturdy. On the other side, we have the Parker Mountain Machine QD sling points. Talked about them in the previous video. They're really just a replacement for the little loops that were here. And again, I never really put a sling on this, so these are kind of a pointless upgrade for me, but I just felt the need to tinker. And once again, the set of these things goes for about $52. We got the Yeti Works grip on here, and this is one of the newer ones. So this one's called the Switchback, and it has an adjustable back strap. Now, one criticism I will say about this particular one is that the screw here does protrude by a couple of threads. Now, yeah, I could shave that down and whatnot, but I don't really think I want to be screwing around with all that. So I may be swapping this guy out for one of them new Magpul ones and just try that. But I have seen some horror stories about how the Magpul ones have goofy gaps all around here, so I don't know. Maybe you just can't win. Up here we have the Parker Mountain Machine paddle mag release. Now this one here is aluminum and goes for about, I remember it was about $35 or so. Now we got the same CZ Customs trigger. Now, I know you're saying, douche, come on now. Last time you done said that this thing is $280 and it might not even be worth it compared to the HB Industries $8 trigger spring. And I'd say, you know what? In this case, you might be right. But I just felt the need to go big or go home, so I done did it again. Saying that, this one does not feel quite as crispy as the other one. Now, the other one does have several thousand rounds through it and is well broken in. And I don't shoot this gun quite as much, as you can tell, because it's clean and it ain't been spray painted and all that other jazz. But this one does not feel the same. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing or if it'll just break in over time. It's still a very nice trigger. But again, for all those that are looking to invest in one of these guns, you can't go wrong with that HB Industries spring. And it's just as much of a pain in the ass to do the install of this guy, because it ain't a drop-in trigger pack. You really do have to take the whole damn thing apart. Almost forgot about the Parker Mount Machine safety selector. I went over this all in the other video about how I don't like the AK style fancy nonsense that most people seem to gravitate to. This one's simple. It works just fine. And I liked it so much I bought a second one. So this goes for about 22 bucks. Oh, but it is important to point out that it is also ambidextrous, which is very important to me, as is the mag release, also very important to me. Now, Doosh, why is that so important, you ask? Well, in case you haven't been keeping up, I am very bi-handed. I like to be able to switch things back and forth, because you never know which hand you're going to need to shoot people with. Moving up, we have the charging handle. This one is also from Parker Mount Machine, and it is the polymer one, so it doesn't bind up on the metal handguard. HB Industries handguard. This guy's a little nubby guy, and we'll get to the barrel in a moment. But has the same mounting solution that I discussed in the last video. This bracket that's back here that mounts over the trunnion. And then you have these 4 Torx head screws that lock in. This thing has 0 play. It will not wiggle, it will not move, it will not budge. It is very solid mounting solution. And because it gets rid of the stupid barrel screw nut thing that was on here with the 17 pounds of Loctite, it is technically free-floated, for as much as that matters when you're talking about a barrel that is about the same length as a Glock 19. So the handguard runs about 124 bucks. The charging handle is about 35 bucks. I have a Magpul MVG on here, just directly to the M-Lock. This is simple and lightweight. I've talked about that before. I do like these, and these go for about 20 bucks. I don't even remember the brand of this hand stop, and it obviously serves no purpose because I ain't gripping the gun like this or any of that contorted nonsense. So this will probably be coming up and going into the spare parts bin in no time. For the weapon light, because I hate invorce lights, I have a cheap Surefire. Not exactly sure of the model here, but these are generally only about 40 bucks or something like that on the Devore. If you catch them on sale, you can probably even get them cheaper. It's got 2 brightness settings. One's super bright and one's kind of dull bright, and you can adjust it just by lightly pressing on the click pad back here. It is mounted via an Odinworks M-Lock adapter. This has a nice drop to it. I don't remember the price of these guys. They were kind of tricky to find sometimes, but it ain't that expensive. So this whole setup works for me a little bit better, and I don't have to try and engage the Enforce trigger pad. This is a little bit more of a natural thing for me because I can use my thumb from my support hand to get in there and hit the button. Up top, we got the standard Aimpoint T1 micro that I tend to put on all my pistol caliber carbines of this nature, and that's just so that I can co-witness the iron sights through the optic. I got a poo-poo eye, so this looks like a smear to me, but, you know, that's my problem, not yours. I got this riding on an American Defense low-rise mount. It's one of them QD types. Not that it ever comes off. Now the silencer we got on here is the Silencer Co. Osprey 9mm. It's a pretty cool can. I had originally intended to be able to use the Silencer Co. Mega 9K on here mounted to a tri-lug mount, but I decided to go with this one. I think it looks cool. It's very lightweight silencer, so it works nicely. And I almost forgot to talk about the barrel. So having a second one of these guns, I figured I might as well do something a little bit different. Everybody always was raving at the time anyway. The big thing was the K model. So I decided that I would make myself a little K model Scorpion here. So the barrel is from Inlaid with Trust. It's a 4.1 inch. It's got a tri-lug and a 1/2x28 thread on there. Now to install this guy, you have to take the whole gun apart. And I mean, you have to remove all these little screws up here and take the whole receiver in half so you can pull out the trunnion and the barrel. It's not a project for the weak of heart, but it also ain't no rocket surgery. The barrel that I swapped in there, the inlet we trust, works really nice. It's as accurate as I need it to be for plinking at 25 to 50 yards, and it does the job. So overall, this gun handles about the same as the other one. I tried shooting it as a pistol when I first bought it and had the SB tactical brace on the back. And it kicked like a mule. And that was before I had to change the barrel and went to the shorter guy. So I decided to SBR this one and then added the stock, which greatly improves the feel of the firearm. Still thumps more than an MPX or an MP5, but it is still easier to put multiple rounds on target with this gun than it would be with a Glock 19. I'll take a quick second to talk about magazine compatibility because I brought that up with the other one. This one you can see here is more than compatible with the brand new generation of CZ Scorpion mags. So these are CZ mags. They have the windows in them so you could see the rounds. And these are very sturdy, especially when you compare them to the original CZ mags. I never had any problems with these. I've said it before. These work just fine. But there were some batches that had some problems with the feed lips cracking if you kept them loaded too long. And overall, it just feels better in the hand. Just want to, feel it. But these actually lock in place nice and easy with this one. That was not the case with the old one. Obviously, the old generation works just fine. Slips right in, pulls right out. And I done got one of them mag pull ones. Well, I have never tried that before, so you're seeing that on camera for the first time. But it does not appear that this guy wants to go in there, into the feedy hole. So there you go. For whatever reason, mag pull might be a no-go on this particular firearm. Well, that's good to know. I'm learning something with y'all. So now you've seen both of my CZ Scorpions. And frankly, I'm kind of running out of pistol caliber carbines from my collection to show y'all. So it's almost time to start branching out into something else. Until then, be sure to check out my brother Dick's channel, Dooshbag's Brother Dick. I'll put a link down below. He's garnered quite the following over there for offering something very different than the shitty kind of gear reviews that I've been doing. And you can actually hear what he's saying. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. And as always, remember, I don't know who you are out there, but I got a gun.